Let's jump to the story from CNN. My friends, this is big news. And they buried the lead. No joke. CNN buried the lead. Check this out. So here's what it says. Mid-article, CNN from today. Survey. More than 80% of Americans 16 and older have immunity. The survey led by the CDC also indicates that about twice as many people have been infected with the virus as have been officially counted. More than 39 million Americans have been diagnosed with COVID infection since the pandemic started in 2020. The team, led by the CDC's Dr. Jefferson Jones, set out to determine how close the U.S. might be to some kind of herd immunity, although they do not claim to have any kind of handle on that yet. They worked with 17 blood collection organizations working in all 50 states plus D.C. and Puerto Rico to test blood covering 74% of the population. In the end, they tested 1.4 million samples. I know, Ian, you were asking about the sample size. 1.4 million. In July 2020, before any vaccine was available, 3.5% of samples carried antibodies to SARS-CoV-2. That rose to 11.5 by December. By May, 83.3% of samples had antibodies to the virus, most of them from vaccination.
Epic.
Now, here's the funny part. What's the actual story? CNN says U.S. states that had some the worst. Wait, what?
Nice.
Some of the worst. CNN.
That had some of the worst
worst.
COVID-19 case rates in past week also reported the highest rates of new vaccinations. So this is CNN.com. We got it pulled up. I'm showing you. We got the NewsGuard. Wow. NewsGuard says CNN doesn't handle the difference between opinion and news responsibly.
Good for them.
Thank you, NewsGuard.
wow.
Come on the show someday.
Yes. That's a good call out, mind you. But this is it. This is CNN Health. And they straight up are saying 80% of Americans 16 and older have immunity. Let me show you this from Forbes. Top U.S. officials, including Fauci, previously estimated that herd immunity threshold to be about 60 to 70% of the population, deeming that goal reachable once vaccines were available. Yo, it sounds like the vaccines worked.
There's a couple things.
Well, real quick, it sounds like Operation Warp Speed worked.
Yeah.
Joe Biden moved up the timeline on vaccines by about a month. Sounds like that worked. And it sounds like now, based on CNN's reporting of CDC data of reviewing 1.4 million samples, 80% have immunity due to the vaccines. This is cause for celebration, right? Everybody should be really happy about this.
Let the Roaring Twenties begin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're there. Let's do it.
My two questions are: one, have they developed immunity for a different strain, like the Alpha strain, when we have the Delta strain out now? And two, have they developed partial immunity as opposed to total immunity? Are they different? Can you have partial immunity and still be considered immune?
Is a good question. They say this was all pre-Delta. The researchers caution. Plus, they didn't measure the other part of the human response, one involving cells known as T cells, and one that might induce broader immunity. But knowing who has antibodies can help inform public health efforts. Quote, several large studies have shown that among individuals who are seropositive from prior SARS-CoV-2 infection, COVID-19 incidence is reduced by 80 to 95%, similar to vaccine efficacy estimates, they noted. The study will continue until at least December 2021, and results will be made available on the CDC's website, they wrote. You see, there we go.
That said, the people that have had it have also...
Well, they were referencing the part of the study where it said that people who have caught COVID have similar immunity to those who have been vaccinated. This is the CDC. You know what? YouTube might not be happy with us.
Well,
I don't know.
But this is good news. Regardless of politics, this is what we were aiming for a year and a half ago. And this is, ultimately immunity is what we're looking for, or some sort of resistance.
This is amazing.
So in light of this news, we can expect for all the local and state governments and the federal government to start rolling back all of their regulations, to start making adjustments to the whole lockdown situation we've been living through for the past 15, 16 months?
There is nothing more permanent than a temporary government.
We'll see the populations making that happen as we see with the kids walking out.
Exactly.
I don't know what to say to you other than share this with people, let them know the good news, and I genuinely mean this. This is good news. This is fantastic. This is absolutely 83.3% according to the CDC survey. So we need to start taking that consideration because now it's time to bring the economy back, help our kids, get everyone back on track, and it's time to celebrate, declare victory. And to all the people who are, I'll say it right now, all the people in the big cities and all those Democrats who are like vaccine, congratulations, you did it. You got enough people vaccinated, at least according to this so far. Maybe it's a little preliminary, but if we're basing our judgments off CDC data, and this is the survey led by the CDC, well then, there we go, baby. It's time to rock. Let's go to the movies.
Fauci came out on Fox News, said that the Mu COVID variant is not an immediate threat to Americans. I don't know if we're going to talk about this story at all, but that's very promising as well, because if it's continuing to evolve, this virus, and it's just according to Fauci, not going to be a threat, then it is a good future trajectory.
I mean, you know what it sounds like? It sounds like we had a real risk with a novel virus that came out last year. Maybe we overreacted. Some people did really awful things, like Cuomo. He's a bad guy. And this is what we said all last year. The issue was that because it was novel, it was likely to spread rapidly. And so we were like, we got to slow the spread. Well, maybe a year and a half, and a vaccine to slow the spread was a little bit more than we thought was going to happen. But at this point, do we now just say like, all right, let's start bringing things back. Let's bring back the businesses, the movies, the restaurants, drop the mandates.
I think we should put that on the table for sure.
Yeah, for sure.